Hello everyone, welcome to our video. I'm Jayanti as the moderator of the group. In this great chance, I would like to present about our group presentation with the topic Sense and Reference. But before that, let me introduce the members of our group. There are Yosua Selamat, Muhammad Fikri, myself Jayanti, Intan Selviana, and Aliffa Amzelina. So, without further ado, let's start our presentation. The meaning of semantics. Semantics is the study of the meaning of words and sentences. Meaning has generally been thought of as a relationship between words and the world. Words can be used to talk about things, and semantics is the attempt to talk about the relationship between words and things that refer to the different aspects of the meaning of a linguistic expression. They are philosophically and logically able to be connected to reference and sense terms. Reference and sense are two principal concepts used in semantics.
Linguistics expressions. Point A. The reference is the object that the expression refers to. For instance, a cat. Point B. The sense is the idea or cognitive significance of the expression. For instance, the idea of word cat. While sense is a way of presenting a referent. So George Bush can be presented with the expressions of George Bush, the current President of the United States, or the son of George Bush Sr. These expressions are associated with very different senses of the same referent. Note that the son of George Bush Sr. does not express a different sense than the phrase George Bush Sr.'s son. These are two ways of expressing the same sense.
So it's my turn now to talking about differences between sense and preference. Sense describes the increased web of connection between different linguistic components. It only addresses interlinguistic relationships, while reference addresses the connection between linguists and the outside world, whereas sense addresses interconnection within the language. In his essay Ubersin and Beduto, which translates as on sense and reference as stated in the previous introduction, German philosopher and mathematical Gottlob Frege invented the word sense and reference. What factor affect our expression's meaning? According to Frege, there is a component of an expression sense that is inextricably linked to its function in reason and cognition.
Hello everyone, my name is Muhammad Fikri and I will explain about the sense, what it sense actually. Sense is defined as its relations to other expressions in the language system. And in semantics, sense refers to the meaning of word or phrase that is conveyed by its relationship to other words and concepts within a particular language system. And sense could be thought of as the abstract, conceptual essence of word or phrase as opposed to its physical form or sound. Sense can also be used to describe the meanings of larger linguistic units such as phrases, sentences, and even entire texts. In the case, the sense of linguistic unit is determined by the way in which its individual components are arranged or combined to convey a particular meaning or message. Overall, sense is an important concept in semantics because it helps us understand how language works and how meaning is constructed within a particular linguistic system. And sense have two types. The first one is sense has many references. For example, in English, we bathe on the other bank of the river. It could be a place to save money by the bank words or riverside that have two reference. And for another examples, by the sense has many friends in English. That man is Barack Obama. Barack Obama, it could be Michelle Obama's husband, the 44th president of the United States, or the president before Donald Trump. And in Indonesia, but in bahasa Indonesia, that example, hak asasi manusia, it could be form of truth, ownership, authority, power, degree, hails. And for another examples in bahasa Indonesia, for the sense has many reference. Kembang desa itu banyak dilamar oleh pria di kampungku. That word kembang, it could be a flower, the girl who is considered the most beautiful in some village.
Sense has no reference. In English, the verse example are cold feet, meaning apprehension or doubt strong enough to prevent a plain course of action. The clause exists in a language but doesn't have any real life form. The second example are blue moon, meaning something extremely rare in occurrence. The clause exists in a language but doesn't have any real life form. While in Indonesia, the verse example are hidung belang, meaning men who like to play with lots of women. The clause exists in a language but doesn't have any real life form. And the second example are darah biru, meaning people who have the bloodline of nobility.
Reference. Reference is the relation between the linguistic expression and the entity in the real world to which it refers. In semantics, reference refers to the relationship between a word or a phrase and the real world objects or entities that it denotes. Reference is the actual object or thing in the world that a word or phrase is referring to, as opposed to the abstract conceptual meaning or sense of the word. Reference can also be thought of as a type of relationship between language and the world. When we use language, we are attempting to refer to or point to things in the world, and the meaning of our words are closely tied to the reference of those words.
So the next one is reference has many sense. For example, in English, the first one is she is wearing blue just like her feeling. In the sentence, the word of blue, it could be melancholy and sad feeling or a color. The second one is that orange cat had oranges. In the sentence, the word orange, it could be a fruit or a color. For example, in Indonesia, the first one is temanku meminjam uang kepadaku. In the sentence, the word of teman, it could be or our friends, roommate, classmates, childhood friends. And the second one is salah satu paman Sarah menikah. In the sentence, the word of paman, it could be maternal uncle, or in Indonesian we call it paman dari pihak ibu, paternal uncle, or in Indonesian we call it paman dari pihak ayah, aunt's husband, and cousin's father. And the next is reference has no sense. As you can see in this picture, for English example, it's a picture of Rafflesia arnoldii. It's a flower, red and have a big petals. For the second one is an animal, and the name is thorny devil. It's animal, small, thorny, and live in the desert. And for example, in Indonesia, as you can see in the picture, the animal name is Tertius kerdil. It's hewan, of course, kecil, berbulu, and berwarna coklat. And the second one is in the picture is the name is buah merah or the Latin name is Pandanus conoideus. It's buah berwarna merah and berbentuk lonjong.
Alright, ladies and gentlemen, That's marked the end of our presentation with the topics sense and reverence. Thank you very much for listening and watching from the beginning till the end of this presentation, and we are hoping that this information will be useful for you. I am Jayanti and see you!